This is a clip from my mentor Dan Pena's most recent hardcore seminar. And God bless the man, because in his older age, he just has no filter. He does not care. And in this section, he's going to talk about how the Rothschilds control the gold market and how they're looking and talking about pushing it up to 3,000 per ounce. Okay, but he's going to talk about this. And as we see, JP Morgan's getting busted for manipulating the gold markets. They're getting busted for some other activities and what they facilitated, right? But then in this session right here, my mentor, Dan Pena, he's talking about the markets, the different markets and how liquid they are and why you would take your company public in this market versus others. And then he talks specifically about how the Rothschilds control the gold market. And this is what I love about Dan, is that he's been at the tables. I always say he's been at the tables. He did deals with the Vatican Bank, right? So this guy's been to the very, very top. All roads lead back to Rome. This guy went to Rome. This guy did deals with the Vatican Bank back when he was building his energy oil conglomerates back in the 80s, okay? And so this guy's been to the very tippy top. He's been at the tables. He's been at the discussions. He knows what he's talking about, and he's completely tapped in. So this is why I listen to everything that Dan puts out, on top of loving his business programs, his methodologies, and I just love the man himself. And so this was his most recent hardcore seminar in December. And so I'm going to play you guys this clip. It's fascinating. He's talking about Rothschilds controlling gold. Check this one out.
Been run extremely efficiently. Another example of that, Rothschild has been setting the market for gold for 200 or 300 years. And there are some little other markets, but the only real market is what the guy comes in and says, writes on a chalkboard still, this is how much is it an ounce, okay? And they control, and they can either, right now they're talking about $3,000 an ounce, just this morning or last night. Whether that happens or not, it's going to be because Rothschild says so. Rothschild says so.
He says whether or not that's going to be because the Rothschild said so, 3,000 per ounce. He said that's what they were talking about the other day. The point being that Dan is bringing up the fact that these elite families like the Rothschilds here have controlled these markets. This old guard has controlled these markets going back hundreds of years. So once again, he says $3,000 per ounce is what they were talking about the other day. But don't get it twisted, guys. In the meantime, we could see downside. We could see, I'm going to talk about XRP price action, how we could see a little bit more to the downside before we explode. But these things are ready to go. And the talk in the backdoor rooms is 3,000 per ounce. And that's what, according to Dan, right? We've heard conversations from other guys, big precious metals guys, that we could expect even more. But I think that Dan's speaking relatively short term, $3,000 per ounce, but only if that family says so. You guys get the point, right? They have controlled this market, and the central banks, while they're telling us not to look at gold, right? Gold's just this old thing kind of fading away, no use case, no utility. The central banks are buying a record amount of gold, right? So a record amount of gold, we understand, he says, Rothschild's banking controls the gold price, and that we could see an upside to 3,000 per ounce, according to Dan. So very interesting. Now, this is a big part of why I've recently just added my affiliate down below for precious metals that will help you roll over your 401k retirement account to precious metals, is because we just see a tremendous opportunity for gold, precious metals, and other commodities to really break out as we see the United States dollar die out, the fiat system die, and they ramp back up inflation and continue to destroy the value of the dollar. And while they're raising interest rates too, you're seeing what that's doing to the stock market. So it's not only are you losing value on your dollar, your 401k in the traditional stock market and in the bond market having its worst year in history, stock market one of the worst years ever, right? S&P 500, it just getting absolutely smacked. So this is why I thought it was so important to add my partner down below, affiliate for precious metals, who will help you roll over your retirement account to precious metals, and they also will ship you a large shipment directly to your house. Their minimum is $5,000. United States dollars to invest in precious metals. So if you're looking, you got a big bag to invest, that partner down below will take you there, precious metals. Get in touch with them and see if your retirement account can get rolled on over to precious metals, if that's something that you are considering. I thought it was fascinating nonetheless. Just just Dan talking once again. And like I said, lately in the most recent years that I've been watching him, he continues to drop comments like that. He has no filter. And in the session that he just did, I'm not affiliated with Dan in any way, but I want to encourage you guys, if you are looking someone who's done it at a massive level for 50 years, one of the best business guys I've come across, I highly recommend you check out his most recent hardcore seminar. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.